Okay, so welcome back to the Championship Rounds, episode 17. We're back after a big weekend of action, something that we were both very excited for that card. But this episode, we're going to be talking about the card, what happens next with the fighters who won and lost on the card, and then a few issues that have come up in the combat sports world and in the MMA and boxing world. So I think first, shall we go through the card, UFC 272? Do you want to start at the bottom or go from the top?
I'll start once you get down and give me 10 press-ups.
he brought that through into the what was it?
In the post-fight, yeah.
Post-fight, yeah. And John was like, "Congratulations." You got it, right? Let's go into that one. I think let's just go for it. Top of the card.
Yeah, I think we have to start with the Colby fight, man. Yeah. Absolute domination, man. It's weird because, like, I think a lot of people were expecting it to happen, but a lot of people also held out for the possibility that Jorge could land something or he'd do more with the striking. But Colby just fucking shut him down throughout the fight. Yeah. Other than one Hail Mary punch in, like, round 4 that dropped Colby for, like, a second, it was just domination. He just ragdolled him. And he had his way with him on the ground. Most of the fight, Jorge was fucking fighting off like rear naked choke attempts. That's all that was really happening. But it was a bit of an anticlimax in terms of like this whole fight between like two guys that hate each other so much, and then for it to be like one-sided so bad, it's like a bit annoying. But it just shows how much more of a skilled martial artist Colby is than Jorge in there, to be honest. Like, it is what it is.
Yeah, my opinion on it is that I think if you watch the previous episode, I think everyone predicted like Colby's just going to, take him down and wear him out and stuff. But I was a little bit disappointed with Masvidal in terms of his gas tank. Everyone knows Colby can go. For me, Jorge looked tired at the end of the second round. He was breathing very heavy in his corner, and I feel like he was underprepared for it. And the other problem, I think, is that, and this is a problem that all strikers have with wrestlers, they can't open up because of the fear of the takedown.
Yeah.
Masvidal actually said it in his post-fight speech. When he rocked him, he thought Colby was going to shoot. So instead of going for it and trying to get the finish with that one opportunity, stunned him, he should have gone in. But it's an advantage that wrestler like Khabib, like, the only reason Conor got hit with that shot because he's scared of the takedown. And it's a massive like psychological advantage as well. They can't open up, they can't strike. They're always constantly worried about if they're going to shoot on them. And if you think about Masvidal's big wins of 2019, he knows Till's not going to shoot. Askren's going to shoot, but obviously he sorted that out in the first round. And Nate Diaz, so like, how creative and sharp he was against Nate Diaz. Nate Diaz never shoots, and if he does, it's crap attempt. He can't wrestle. Yeah. So he's wrestlers is, as he said, like, he's self-aware. He can't fight he struggles against wrestlers. And I think what you said to me after the fight, he has lost a bit of his explosiveness. We've got to remember 2019 was 3 years ago. And when you're around that age, you start tailing off at 37 years old. So it's a bit, it's a bit of a shame. And I feel like he should have maybe waited a bit. But I think, having the pay-per-view points and stuff, Masvidal thought, a big paycheck. And maybe I could land something on him. But yeah, pretty much flawless. Like, Masvidal was supposed to outstrike Colby, but really it was 50-50 on the feet and Colby 100% on the wrestling. So
I wouldn't even say 50-50, man. I think honestly, I think Colby was like, I gave Masvidal like the second round, I think, out of the entire fight. It was very, very close that round. But like even in the fourth, like when he smacked him and dropped him, like there was Colby threw, like, I think it was just after or just before, a combination where I thought he was going to finish Masvidal off. Yeah. Masvidal started like fucking shelling up and stuff, and I was thinking, Colby's gas tank, like he's gonna do it, like, you know what Poirier does, like just fucking throws the kitchen sink. I thought he was gonna finish him, but it was a bit disappointing from Masvidal, man. Like even in the clinches, like there was a couple of times where Colby exploded out of the clinch with like an elbow and stuff, and it's usually Masvidal that we're used to seeing like doing that. Like he done it against Usman and stuff. And I saw like a weigh-in picture of him when he weighed in against Usman and him when he weighed in for this fight, and he looked in like better shape, man. Like he looked leaner. He looked like he'd made a better weight cut. But don't know, man. Maybe it's his age, man. Father, what is it? What they say? Father times undefeated, isn't it?
Yeah, father time, man. Yeah, yeah. And yeah, I think yeah, it's a bit of a shame for Masvidal. And you could tell he was hurt by it, like genuinely in the.
Of course.
He was like, I lost to this guy, and he's been talking about my kids and stuff like that. I don't know if a longer camp would have helped him. I personally think it would have for that gas tank. He needed that next level gas tank, but maybe that'd make him older, even more slower. I don't know. But where does Masvidal go from here? It's an interesting one because he signed. I think he's the third best paid fighter in the UFC now, according to the contract.
But you know what? When you sign a big boy contract like that, you have to be in big boy fights, man. Like normally, you could after like a 3-fight skid like he's on, you could say, "Oh, let's throw him in with someone like lower down the top 10 or outside of the top 10, like build him back up and stuff." But when you're getting paid that amount by the UFC, they're not going to do that, man. Yeah. I think an interesting fight for him would be like someone like Vicente Luque, where he can show off his striking. And I think that would be a good fight, man. It would be like a war. Like that would be a good fight for like fans to watch.
Yeah.
In terms of Colby, man, Colby's like, it's a fucking weird situation because that guy is so good, but he can't get a shot at Usman again straight away. And there's a Chimaev versus Burns fight coming up in April. What I've mapped out in my head is Chimaev Burns happens in April, yeah? The winner of that comes through. Colby basically took no damage in that fight. He says he wants to fight in July.
Yeah.
He fights in July against the winner of Chimaev versus Burns. Usman Leon happens in the summer. And then in the wintertime, Colby, whoever wins out of Colby Chimaev fights fucking Usman again in the winter, man.
But
that's the only thing I can see.
But what if Gilbert Burns and Hamza have a war and they're out for 6 months?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, true. This is why Dana always says we have to... what is it? He always says that same thing. Yeah. We're going to have to see how things play out, basically. So I don't know, man. But it is...
Because this is what Bisping came on and said he was wrong to call out Dustin Poirier. Now Colby is looking to elevate his name now. Poirier is big after Conor. He's one of the biggest names. He wants to come up and fight Dustin. Fair enough. I agree. I think that's a good fight, and Colby will probably do the same what he did to Masvidal. But what Bisping's point was, this guy needs to fight a few more contenders in that welterweight division. There's a lot.
Yeah, he does.
In that top 6 that he hasn't fought. He hasn't, like, if we look at it now, he hasn't fought Burns. He hasn't fought Luque. He hasn't fought Edwards. Hasn't fought Bilal. Hasn't fought Sean Brady. So, you know, I kind of agree. Like, he needs to cement that contender spot. Let's run through a bit.
Yeah, I do agree, because even if you look at his fights leading up to the Usman fight, he had Robbie Lawler, who was like over the hill.
Yeah.
Then you had Tyron Woodley in between the Usman 1 and Usman 2. He was over the hill. Masvidal, potentially, we could say over the hill, but it's all good and well saying this now, but if Usman sparked him out on the weekend, everyone would have been on his dick. So it's a weird...
RDA was a lightweight going up. That's his other big one that he's won.
Yeah.
So this was what Bisping's point was in his channel, to say you need to start taking out people in your division. If you clear out that top 5, you have to get another title shot. But Colby's 34. Let's not forget he can't have too many. He ain't got time to run through, like, you know, unless he fights like 3 times a year. But he's not very active though. Colby will literally sit out and wait for a shot.
Yeah, I know. This is the thing with him though. Like, he says he wants to fight in July, but does he actually fight in July? That's the issue with Colby. Like, he's one of those guys who will happily just sit out and wait, innit? But I don't know, man. That division, the whole division is so active. I don't think you can afford to sit out and wait anymore. Like, you've got Burns who'll fight anyone. You've got Chimaev that'll fight anyone. Bilal Muhammad's like fucking calling people out constantly on Twitter. Like, I don't think you can sit out. Even if he fights Bilal Muhammad, I don't think Bilal Muhammad really likes him. So that might be a nice little fight there, but probably be like quite boring. Like, they'd have to put that quite far down the card, I think. But yeah, man, it's interesting for that welterweight division.
Yeah. Cool. Moving a bit down the card. RDA versus Moykano.
Yeah.
You going about that? I don't really remember it that much. So
yeah, to be fair, on the night I woke up like when it was the third round of that fight, and RDA was just smashing him to pieces on the ground at that point. Round 4, a bit more of the same. RDA was taking him down easily, smashing him, and then he had like a fucked up eye basically, and like the ref checked it after the end of round 3, and then he called the doctor in again at the beginning of round 5 to check it. And at the beginning of round 5, I think the fight should have just been called, man. Moykano looked absolutely spent in there. Like, he had nothing left. Yeah. His face was pouring out with blood. His eye was basically shut. Like, he could track what the doctor was doing with his finger and stuff. But it's a short notice fight. He's lost all 4 rounds. Took an absolute beating. Like, is there any need for him to still be in there? Like, at no point was anyone thinking, oh, he's going to come in with some, like, freakish power and knock out RDA. Yeah. So Mark Goddard said basically you've got 30 seconds to turn it around in round 5, which is a bit like weird because I've never heard a judge say that. But a few people like against it. But I think he did a good job, to be fair. He basically said if you get your ass whooped again in the first 30 seconds, I'm going to call it. Yeah. And I think RDA was a bit nice, you know, like when someone's a bit fucked up in front of you, you like you like. He was landing shots, but he was like touching him. Like he weren't like trying to like run through him. Yeah. He didn't take him down again. Like Moykano threw some nice shots towards the end of the round, but yeah, it was one-way traffic that entire fight. Like he showed he's got a lot of heart, but obviously staying in the fight. But yeah, it was very, very one-sided, man.
Yeah, I feel like maybe these short notice fights where they get someone in at like 3 days notice, just drop it to 3 rounds. Like, I think that might be a better thing because who's going to be ready for a 5-rounder? You know, after like 6 days notice or something. But
yeah, no, I agree with you. That fight had no business being 5 rounds, really. Like, yeah, 3 rounds would have been more than enough. And I think the ref should have started having a serious look at it after the third anyway to call it off. Because, yeah.
The other news about that was Islam was asked, Islam called out RDA on Twitter. RDA accepted, and then Islam, according to Dana, rejected the fight. Now, Islam's just come on, I think it was an ESPN interview today. And he said that there was rumors about him asking for 1 million. But he said he didn't actually specify what he wanted, but he said it was just something little. He only wanted something little. Now, we don't know what that little thing is. Something small, I think he said. But I feel like Dana would have paid if it was something small. Like, I don't know what, like, Islam's like kind of going to be a big star, most likely. So why, I don't know, why do you think that, what do you think's gone on there?
You know what, when he says something small, yeah, I have a sneaky feeling he's basically saying, if I win this, you guarantee me the title shot.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But I don't think Dana wants to just give him that title shot without him fighting Beneil Dariush, innit?
Oh, okay. So, yeah.
But I think Dana might have agreed to it, but he said that Dana like stopped replying or something, like he went to sleep or some shit, and then he just sacked it off. But if anything, it makes Islam look like a bit of a bitch in that situation because he was the one that started calling RDA out, and then he bottled it in the end. So
literally, like, to be fair, like, I think Islam came away worse in that situation. Like, he didn't look like that anytime, any place sort of fighter. So
yeah, it's not a good look, man. Like, I don't know. Maybe you should have spoke to Dana before, like chirping up on Twitter and stuff. But yeah, I don't know, man. He has to fight Dariush. I want him to fight Dariush anyway, man. Like, it's a bit of a crap way to get a title shot.
He needs to beat someone else.
Yeah, like Bobby Green. Like, that's not enough for a title shot, man. I know he's on a mad win streak, but yeah, fight someone in the top 5. We'll see, man.
Yeah. Okay, next fight down. My sister Bryce Mitchell fight. The next one.
Yeah, Thug Nasty versus Edson Barboza, man.
Straight out of Arkansas.
Yeah. To be fair, this fight week was the first time I'd properly heard about Bryce Mitchell. Yeah. Like they put him in a lot of their media, like coming out before the fight.
Yeah.
And it kind of showed him in a different light. Like, the only other thing I'd seen of him was him on Aerial, like talking about like guns and stuff, and he's got like really strange views.
Yeah.
But he seems like a very, very nice guy. Like, he just seems like an actual nice person. In terms of his fighting, man, Edson Barboza is no joke, man. Like, he came out there quick, throwing kicks, and like Bryce Mitchell said, I was trying to check the kicks, but it just wasn't working. Like, but yeah, we all know like how dangerous Barboza's kicks are, and then he got dropped by Bryce Mitchell with right hand.
Yeah.
And then after that, Bryce Mitchell took control of the fight, and I think he won all rounds on the judges' scorecard as well. So very, very convincing victory for Bryce Mitchell, and yeah, it's going to propel him up the rankings in that division. So yeah,
he's getting a lot of promotion behind him. I was just looking at the rankings now to see who he could fight. You got Josh Emmett at 6, but I think Cater, unless he's booked, is he booked with Holloway or nah?
No, he's not booked with Holloway. No.
Yeah, so Calvin Cater against Mitchell would be a good fight, man. I think he's number 5.
The only thing with that is I don't know if Cater would want to fight someone that's going to try and take the fight to the ground, innit?
Yeah, everyone's avoiding wrestlers, man.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, if you want to be at the top of that division, you have to fight everyone, and he's obviously got a lot of hype behind him, and the UFC are looking to propel him as well. So that'd be massive for Calvin Cater, especially after his win over that Giga Chikzade or whoever he fought in it, like in the last one. He was a bit of a hype train as well, innit?
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
So if he derails 2 hype trains in that division, then yeah, it's going to put him in good standing, maybe for a max rematch. But I don't know if his brain wants that, man.
Has he fought? He hasn't fought Holloway, has he? Not Holloway, Volkanovski.
Who?
Cater?
No. The Cater versus Holloway fight was going to be to probably fight Volkanovski, innit? But he got absolutely destroyed in that.
Okay. All right, moving down now. I've only got 2 fights to discuss left on this. Is Kevin Holland and Cowboy Oliveira. I quite like Holland, you know. I don't know why. It's like, what cracked me up was when the guy didn't have him like a neck choke, he's under the arm. He's like posing for a photo like this. I was like, I literally just cracking up like, what the hell is he doing? He's literally like a photo, like he's posing for. But I wasn't too impressed with him. His actual performance. He looked easy to hit and not too good on the ground. But, you know, he's got power. Kevin Holland has got power. Even we saw him knock out Souza off his back, just throwing punches. So he's got a lot of work to do in terms of defense and wrestling and grappling. But he's got a hype train behind him as well. I think him and Cerrone called him out. I'd watch that 100% just to see it'd be a striking battle. But
Cerrone's booked now though, so I don't think he can do that. Yeah, against some guy called like Lauzon.
Okay, they just use Cerrone as the name to build up some new guy. Like
I think this guy might be an older guy as well. I think this guy might be an older guy, so it's a bit of like a retirement fight.
Right. Okay.
But yeah, Cerrone's booked up, so that's not happening. But yeah, what was the first fight on the main card?
Spivak, Greg Hardy.
Oh yeah, that's nice. Greg Hardy getting knocked out. I love that. That's good, man.
He's done.
Everyone loves that. Yeah, he's done. Hopefully, like I think that was the last fight on his contract, and then Tuivasa was taking the piss out of him on Instagram as well. So that was pretty good as well.
Tuivasa's kicked him as well, hasn't he?
Yeah. He smacked him up as well. That was just before the Derek Lewis fight, isn't it? I think. Yeah. No. It was 2 fights before. Fucking hell, he's been active, man. Tuivasa this year. Shit, man.
Ever since he went to Dubai, he's been active. He's been away from the alcohol.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So that's wrapped up. Unfortunately, there's not really a good UFC event this weekend. There is one. It looks dead to me, if I'm honest. You got Sam Yudong. That's the only name I recognise from Team Alpha Male. Uriah Faber always hypes him, and he's a bit of a knockout guy, so maybe watch out for him. But other than that, we'll move on to issues. I keep calling them issues. What's the word I'm thinking of? Not issues in the...
Current affairs.
Current affairs, yeah, that's it. Current affairs. The first one, which has been all over the internet and all over the press, and it is actually a very sad topic, is Cain Velasquez arrest. And that's due to, he found out that his daughter was being molested, his 4-year-old daughter was being molested, and Cain Velasquez went down to track down the guy and shot at his car with a firearm, but unfortunately he didn't hit the actual guy that did it. He hit his godfather. So he's gone arrested and he's been refused bail, which a lot of the UFC people are upset about, because I think everyone can understand his anger. But I've got a statement from the judge that she released today, and it was more about him being reckless to human life as to why she sort of declined him having bail. Let me just read it. So she said, ramming a vehicle in the middle of the day where citizens are out driving, going about their business and shooting out of a car at other individuals, which is reckless by any standards. Anyone could have been injured. Anyone could have been killed. And when this court looks at Article 1, Section 12, it is this level of risk that the court must take into consideration. With that said, this court is making the ruling that the risk is too great and that there will be no bail set at this time. So she's saying that he's too reckless to be let out as a problem to the public, that he could do it again and, you know, be reckless again. But I think it was just mad anger, which is understandable. But
yeah, that I was gonna say that's it, isn't it? Like, obviously, if you, like, hopefully no one's ever in that situation, but if you're in that situation,
yeah,
you're gonna be blinded with rage. You're literally gonna be so angry. You're not even gonna be thinking straight, or like thinking about your surroundings or whatever. You're gonna be wanting to go and get that fucking guy in it, basically. So I sympathise with him massively. Like, obviously, I can see where the judge is coming from, but then you got to think if you put yourself in his shoes, how rational would you be in that situation?
Yeah.
So I don't know, man. Free Cain Velasquez, though, man. A lot of UFC fighters are speaking out about it, so hopefully, yeah. I don't know. I don't know what they're gonna do with it, but yeah.
Probably they're saying he could face up to 20 years in jail time. I think Joe Rogan said that he should have used hands, and I do agree with that. But like you just said, how rational can you be? You know, he's hit a guy. He's hit the guy's godfather. What they call it. But you know, you could call him innocent, to be honest. Like, you know, he hasn't done anything wrong, and he's been shot. He's just affiliated with the criminal. But obviously, if he got his hands on him, he could have made sure it was the right guy and put his hands on him. But like you said, you can't really blame the guy. So he has got a lot of support, but I don't think it's going to do anything for him. I think he's definitely going to jail, which is a shame. Yeah. But yeah, man, free Cain. Cool. Move on to Tyson Fury and Dillian Whyte. So as we know that we've covered before, Dillian Whyte's not really promoting this fight. He can't be bothered.
What do you mean not really? He's not done anything.
Yeah. He's staying away, but I was watching an interview with Carl Frampton. Tyson Fury came on, and he basically spoke about this is his last fight. And I texted Sonny at the time, and I was like, this can't be his last fight. And he basically told me that the Furies are the most contradictory people walking the earth at the moment. So what's your take on that, Sonny?
He's not retiring. Why on earth? He says he's like done everything. Yeah, like, okay, yeah, you have done everything, but there's so many lucrative fights out there still for him. Like, Usyk just become undisputed. Anthony Joshua, like the biggest heavyweight fight ever.
Yeah.
And I know he says, "Oh, I don't have this flashy lifestyle. I can live on this. I can live on that." But like,
and then he brings out an energy.
Then he brings out energy drinks and shit. Like, I just think, like, what the hell, man? Like, then why are you doing brand deals with like Iceland and shit? Like, if you don't need any more money, then just sack it, innit?
Yeah, and then like, he brings out a book, like, just
and if you don't need any more money, why don't you give him a little bit more of your purse to Dillian Whyte so he actually comes and promotes the fucking fight? I don't know, man. But
strange, man. But there is massive, like, if I was Tyson Fury, those AJ fight and Usyk fight are the kind of fights that would get you excited for the number of people that are going to watch, and also he can win the belts again, undisputed again, twice. That's crazy legacy.
Yeah, and he said something like, "Oh, I've been in the fight game a long time," which I agree. But then he also said something about taking damage, and I was thinking, you have not took much damage. Like, other than the Wilder fight, like, you've had a couple of like flash knockdowns in your career and stuff, but like, other than any damage you took against Wilder, you've not took much damage at all, man. So yeah, it's a weird one. I don't believe that this will be his last fight. I just think it's pushing ticket sales, man.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay, what else have we got to talk about? I just saw a clip from Ben Shalom from Boxer that Amir Khan might be, what do they call it? I've lost the word again.
He's invoking his rematch clause, basically. But the only reason he's doing that, man, like obviously Eddie Hearn's come out and said that they've offered Cal Brook the Conor Benn fight this week, but he was asking for a lot of money, so Conor Benn's not fighting him. He's moving on.
Okay.
But if you're in Amir Khan's shoes and you've got that rematch clause, yeah, you'd invoke it so that you'd get some step aside money. And he's a smart guy, so obviously he's thinking, I invoke this rematch clause. And then if you go fight Chris Eubank Jr. or Conor Benn or whoever, but just cut me a little slice of the check. So
Khan will we want to be back in there with Brook anytime soon,
mate. After that performance, I don't think Amir Khan needs to be getting in a ring again, man. To be honest, but to be honest, I think Cal Brook would have probably beat Conor Benn at this stage of his career, but I think the Chris Eubank Jr. fight, there's actual like hatred there. They don't like each other, but it's the weight difference. So I don't know, man.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I don't think Chris Eubank Jr. is a very good boxer. Like the 2 times that he's went up massively in terms of levels was against Billy Joe Saunders and George Groves, and he's lost both of those.
Yeah. He's below that level. He's below world-class level, world championship level.
So the only thing that would be an issue is obviously the weight for Cal in that fight. Like, obviously, Eubank's a naturally bigger guy. But it'd be a very good fight, man. I don't know if Sky Sports will be able to get it done. But if they get it done, Amir Khan's going to be taking a little payday out of that as well. So, yeah, man.
Shout out Khan for his, he's made so much money in the sport and he still wants a little bit more. Fadial wants some new handbags.
Oh, that's it.
You had one more topic, man. Off the top of my head, shall I just check it? I think you had one thing more you wanted to discuss.
What did I say to you to discuss?
I'm just. Oh yeah, last topic. Josh Taylor fight being investigated by police.
Yeah, that's a bit mad, isn't it? I saw that today on Twitter. The actual police. The actual police are investigating. That's so weird, man.
Yeah, that is weird. I don't know how that works, though. Like, what is someone going to get done for what, though? For being...
Maybe they're going to, question the judges or something. I don't know, man. Like, it's a bit of a weird one. And then I just seen loads of, comments saying, well, yeah, that's the least I'd expect. It was a robbery after all and shit like that. So, but... yeah, it's a bit of a weird one, man. That the police are investigating. I don't really know what that means. So we just have to kind of see how things play out, as Dana says.
Yeah, I feel like nothing's gonna happen, man. Like, there's been robberies before. There will be robberies again. It's part of boxing.
Yeah, I only see 2 avenues anyway for here. Yeah. I see either Josh Taylor gives him a rematch at 140, which I don't think he will because he was absolutely sucked.
Yeah,
in that fight, he was so drained.
Yeah.
Or he's only a mandatory. I think I was reading for the WBO in that division, so he'd only get a shot at that vacant title, which is unfair because he would have been undisputed.
Yeah.
So I don't know if the rest of the governing bodies can come through and put him as a mandatory or something, but I don't know, man. But if nothing comes from it, then they need to have a serious look at the judges and scoring in boxing, to be honest, because it's just a shit show at the minute, to be fair.
Yeah. I think that's it. I know there was a celebrity boxing card. I don't know if you watched it or you was interested in it.
Yeah, I put up a little poll on Instagram asking if I should do a review, and it got 50-50. So then I was like, I don't know if I can be asked to sit there and fucking edit it for an hour or two.
The people have spoken.
For 4 people, but yeah. Fuck it.
I'll tell you what. Next week we've got UFC London. Next week.
Yeah.
So we're going to be breaking down. I think what we should do is break down the English fighters. Let's do a bit of a breakdown on them so everyone knows who they are. Because for me, I don't even know about Arnold Allen, and he's number 6th in that featherweight division. I think we need to recap on those fighters.
Yeah, we'll have a proper look through, man. It's a good card though for obviously English people. Like, there's a lot of interest on that card. So yeah, we'll break that down. We might even do a separate video, like in-depth analysis of the British fighters on that card.
And Hardy style.
Yeah. I'll bring my TV in here, and then I can like go through all the clips and shit. But I'm looking forward to the UFC London card. Obviously, for like now we've got a lot of international subscribers and stuff. They might not be as clued up to the British fighters, so we'll go through them for you guys, and we'll give you our picks and stuff as well, which will be good.
Cool. That'll wrap up today. I hope you enjoyed that one, guys. We're back next week, episode 18. What, son, you want to say something? No,
I was just nodding. I was nodding.
Okay. Thanks for all the support so far. Our aim is to get to 1,000 subscribers by the Hamzat fight. Actually, a week before the Hamzat fight, 1st of April. We're doing everything we can. So please subscribe if you haven't.
Yes, please subscribe.